Welcome to Side Notes. I'm out and about today. We're at the Diversity Expo here in Toronto at Liberty Grand. I'm talking to a gentleman who spent 40 years in the police force, Bruce Herridge. Thank you so much for your time there, Bruce.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
And you'd retired as the Deputy Chief of York. During that time, you also spent some time involved with the internet stuff. I know that we were talking right before the interview briefly about the cyber crimes and how important it is to address that. You were talking that there was some program set up in New York Police Force to address that issue.
Yeah, there's really two sides to that equation. There is an enforcement side where people are engaging in criminal activity using the internet. But we felt that it's better to educate the young people as they grow up who will come to use the internet and learn how to protect themselves about becoming victims on the internet to those that would prey upon them. We had a safety village. The community safety village in York is a very busy place. 30,000 children a year go through that, and one of the programs we offer there is cyberbullying, how to be aware of it, how to operate on the internet safely and protect yourself from becoming a victim.
And with the internet actually becoming more and more involved in people's lives, how important you think it is for security too, because of the passwords and iPhones and the MP3 players and all that stuff?
Yeah, the internet's become all-consuming, and I think those that practice criminal activities have learned how to exploit it. It's an added dimension of anonymity when you can operate through the internet and not be face-to-face with a potential victim. The ability to contact thousands of people with a few keystrokes, and even if a small percentage of them fall victim to the act, whatever it's a scam for fraudulent donations or to support some cause that's not legitimate, any amount of response by unsuspecting victims play into the hands of those that are perpetrating these events on the internet.
And you received an award from the Governor General. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, it's the Member of the Order of Merit. It just represents a contribution to policing and community, volunteering in the community, making a difference in the community, particularly over the long haul. And that was a very prestigious moment to be able to receive that award.
I know that right now, since you retired, you're now into the teaching role and you're teaching the up-and-coming police. What are some of the biggest things that you're trying to impress upon the young police that they're just entering in the service?
I think the whole profession of policing has become very much more complex than it was 40 years ago. There's so much more to know. It's a busier profession. We do a lot more these days than we used to. I think there's some estimates out there that would suggest 70 to 80% of the work we do really didn't fit into a traditional policing mandate 40 years ago. But these issues of social disorder impact people and their feeling of safety in their communities. And while it may not constitute a criminal offense, it requires someone to respond to be able to help the citizens of the communities in the GTA and across the province. And the police chiefs take that very seriously. There's many other agencies that try to help out, but we're still the only people that do 24/7 call response, and we're there when you're needed. So that's made it a very busy profession. The other interesting thing from a training perspective is there's so many more dimensions to policing now than there used to be. So getting involved with the community, building partnerships that are effective, helping to protect people against becoming victims of crime is almost a better investment than trying to investigate it after the fact and deal with victims. So I think the profession has changed. It's more complex. The recruits are older now when they join than they were 40 years ago, but they come to us with greater amounts of education. So it's fun to work with them, get them trained up and out on the streets and helping the people.
One issue that's faced a lot of people in the veteran community and actually the police community, any first responders, is PTSD. Are there any courses available within the police force to teach the police on how to handle someone that has PTSD?
Absolutely. There's a number of high-risk activities within the police service that expose our members to tragic events that can have a lasting impact on them. We do prepare them for working in those environments, and we check in on them regularly to make sure that they're not succumbing to the tragic circumstances that they have to deal with. And it plays out differently in every person, and we need to keep wellness in mind when we're dealing with our members and victims. The Ontario Police College is actually hosting an occupational stress injury session in the coming days with the Tema Conter Foundation, which speaks to post-traumatic stress disorder and occupational stress injuries. So it's very much a part of our business, looking after our people so that they can look after others, as is the case in military. When they return from the various theaters around the world, having represented Canada in the peacekeeping missions that they do, they often are exposed to very tragic and serious incidents that can change your life forever. And providing them with the tools and the support to be able to live through that and continue to be contributing members of society is an important part of what we do.
What's the website to that college that you were just talking about?
It's at the Ontario Police College. I believe you can get there through the Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services with the Ontario government. We are part of that ministry, and if you Google the Ontario Police College, you'll be able to see that. That session that I referenced is really, it's for the practitioners. It's not open to the public, but we are preparing to go more public with things like training initiatives and awareness campaigns to bring a spotlight on, which has been pretty much in the shadows for many years, that whole issue of post-traumatic stress and critical incident stress. So.
And what's looking back over your career, what is the one incident or maybe a couple incidents that stick out in your mind still to this very day?
There's nothing that can compare to the loss of one of your own officers while in the line of duty. York, since its amalgamation in 1971, has lost 4 officers, all of them tragic. I was with York during all of those situations, trying to help the families manage through after that event, and the family of policing, the officers and civilian support staff that work in that organization are tremendously impacted by such a loss. And it's very tragic. It plays out in a public forum, very moving events, and never leaves your mind.
And what's the one message you want to leave?
Well, we're here today to talk to people that want to look maybe potentially at policing as a career, and I recommend it highly. There's lots of potential careers within policing. It's not just what you see on television that police officers do. I think it's kind of been misrepresented a little bit on TV, but there's so much exciting work. You can have many different careers in the police organizations that serve the GTA, and there's lots of opportunity coming in the years ahead.
Thank you so much for your time, Bruce.
My pleasure. Thank you.